Hello and welcome everyone to this Thursday. Today here in Alberta, we started off at -3 Celsius. We're in Canada, but we seem to be climbing somewhat. So I hope that everybody is cozy and warm and comfortable. We're super excited for today's webinar. I'd love to welcome Katie Clemons. Welcome, Katie.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
I'm really excited too. I'm going to do a quick introduction and then we're actually going to do today more in a podcast format. I've got so many questions for Katie, so it's going to be a conversation that goes back and forth between Katie and I. And then, of course, if you have any questions as we're actually talking, pop them in that chat box and I will address them to Katie. So, to introduce Katie, Katie is an award-winning author and story catcher whose best-selling guided journals have been praised by the Wall Street Journal as the key to getting your teen to talk. She's also helped over 700,000 families and classrooms strengthen emotional connection through the beauty of storytelling. Katie empowers parents and children to celebrate their stories, capture memories, and heal through writing. Katie, your journals are absolutely magnificent. I can see that you have one in the background. That's the sun one that's behind you.
Yes.
Yes, I've got one of the daughter ones here, and I was actually just sharing with Katie what a beautiful tool it's been in my own home. Uh, Basically, I will write in it, and then I will put it under my daughter's pillow. She writes in it, she puts it under my pillow, and then there's pages where we both get to write together. And it's been such a beautiful, beautiful tool in terms of just a quiet connection and a back and forth that we really don't have anywhere else in our world. So, Katie, in my own family, this has already been such a beautiful gift.
Oh, I'm so glad. That is basically what I dream of as I'm writing these books, thinking this is the experience that I want families to have with one another.
Oh, I love it. Katie, that initial pull to really start creating journals for kids, where did it come from? What was it?
Well, it originally wasn't about kids. It was my grandmother. And so my grandmother she was so inspiring to me. She would do things like all of her dishes were handmade. She made them on the pottery wheel, or all of the artwork was either stuff that she had made or other people had made. And I always just wanted to know the stories. Like, well, tell me about that art piece. Tell me about, like, even her light switch was like some artist had made this. And I was like, Grandma, tell me about that. And she was just like, it doesn't matter. I'd ask her about her own life. Like, oh, what was it like, when you were my age, when you were a teenager? And she just shrug it off and it doesn't matter, Katie. And the thing was that it mattered so much to me, but she didn't see that.
Yeah.
Then when she finally did see it, it was about her 90th birthday. And we had been invited to NPR's Story Corps to climb aboard their bus and to record her story. So kind of like you and I are doing right now, it was an interview back and forth. And my grandmother, we were practicing the questions, eating ice cream together. And she was like, I don't remember. Katie, I should have written this down. And that was such a light bulb moment for me. It kind of shifted everything. I kept thinking of all these different people, like my grandma, who mattered so much to so many of us, and her stories were being lost. So then, fast forward, when I had my first child, I started thinking about the stories that I was telling. So at this point, I was making journals for women like myself. I had baby books, pregnancy journals. It was basically capturing the stories that I was experiencing. And from my perspective, I'm holding this baby and I'm thinking, what is he thinking? What is he viewing the world from? Because, we all look at the world through a different lens. We could live in the exact same house, but as we know, our child looks at everything totally differently. Like the things that we're doing are so annoying sometimes, right? Like, or they're so funny, or like, what are those things that they're seeing in the world and
Mm.
in our home and in our relationship? And I want to hear the good things. And I also want to know, what are those things that are so hard? And what are those things that my kid is struggling with? And sometimes it's hard to sit down on the spot and start talking.
Mm-hmm.
But we can always write, we can always draw.
It's so beautiful. It's just such a beautiful way to go. How do we maybe shift the communication dynamic here that gives our child the chance to really share with us? Which brings me to my next question. What is it, do you think, that makes writing together so incredibly powerful?
Gosh, that's interesting because, like, let's say you pick up your son from school and you are so excited to hear about his day, hear what he's doing, and you're just like, tell me about everything. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And so what does he do? He either shrugs and says, I don't remember, or nothing. He's not ready to be cracked open and tell you all of those things.
I think we've all
And
been there. Yeah.
yeah. So we're like, okay, what's a different way I can ask this question? We're always like trying to think of a different way to say it. But what if we didn't try to always say it? What if it were something like, here's this book and it's under his pillow and he can write to you, hey, here's something I'm going through, or here's something that made me happy today.
Wow, beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. Is there something that's come up through those journals with your child that have kind of surprised you or made you tear up where you go, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this was actually there?
You know what really surprised me was how so many parents will tell me, I'm not sure if this is going to work for us because my kid does not write. Just a reluctant writer all the way. And then they come to me and they say, but we tried it anyway. And he loves writing in this. He's writing in this book. And they're just blown away. And it blows me away every day too, because we think that when our child is this, it's going to apply everywhere. But sometimes we just need to open up a different channel for them to be able to do that. Like when you think of a journal, you usually think writing and writing and writing and writing. Like it's just pages of words. But what I like to do is give the kids pages, like I'll show you a few peeks in here. Like in this one, my hair looks like this, it says. So it's 3 different pictures. So what kid is going to write, this is what my hair looks like in these situations? They're
So
not,
neat.
they're going to draw it. And there, that just told you like my hair on an ordinary day. Like that's their perspective of their hair.
Yeah, got it there.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's adorable.
I love it. So the journaling world that you've cracked open, you already mentioned that for some kiddos, it might just be a different avenue for them to express themselves. I think for so many parents, they go, just like what you just said, oh, but my child is not a writer, and neither am I a writer. How do we encourage parents to go, like, actually, just give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
Well, I would reach even further and say that so often we say, well, I'm not creative, or I've lost my creativity. As a mom, I'm so busy doing everything for everyone else and all these other things that I don't have time to play.
Mm.
Or we want to play and we don't know how to make time for it. So I just feel like sometimes picking up a book is a way to channel those sorts of just emotions and experiences that we have as a parent. And you don't have to write long things. Now, I've noticed that as moms, we really do tend to write a lot, especially, if you're keeping a mother-son journal, like my son will have like 3 words and I'll have, I don't know, 300 or 3,000. I don't know. It's like the page is stuffed.
I love it. Moms with their words.
That's right. And that's okay. I don't think there needs to be a rule on, well, this page it has as a prompt and then it's blank. For example, I don't think that there needs to be any rule that says, and you have to fill it. Mom, you don't have to fill it, and your kid certainly doesn't either.
I love it. It's just permission to use it in a way that makes sense for your family. I think one of the things that I've heard from you before is that as we connect with our kids, connection happens in both silly and serious ways. Can you talk a little bit to that?
Well, sure. I think sometimes the serious things are the ones that can pop into our heads most easily. Like it's the having the talks about difficult things that our kids are going through, or the things that we need to help prepare them for, like, let's say, teaching your kid to use deodorant or tying their shoe. Like those are serious things in their lives. And maybe there's the really hard, serious things too, like losing somebody they care about, or just going through all these different life experiences. And I think that it's really important to help kids work through those experiences. And one way we can do that is by writing with them, because sometimes they don't even know that this is on their minds or this is something that's bothering them. But when they sit down with a piece of paper or with a journal or a notebook or something, what happens is that they stop thinking about the filter that they need to have because, well, what would my mom say? Like, how would my mom react? And so instead of focusing on how they're feeling and how they're experiencing this thing, they're instead that's instead of thinking of how their mom is going to respond or what she's going to say, they're just thinking, this is what it is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes removing that filter of what we interpret as mom's expectations or just other people's expectations opens up a kid so much.
I love
And
that.
the flip side is the silly parts. Because if
Mm-hmm.
we just had a journal, or if we just only focused on these serious things, that's no fun. Like when we became moms, it was like thinking of the fun things, right? Like all of the beautiful moments we wanted to share. And so I like to just do the goofy things in these books too, like drawing what your hair looks like at a certain situation, or poking fun of each other just a little bit. Like there's a box at the door for mom. What's inside? Like where'd she order it from? Because our kids know that stuff, and they, they just they know how to just bring it out in the greatest ways.
So fun, so fun. And I found that the blend in the journals is beautiful because it's like the silly and the serious. They're just interwoven together. And then before long, you look at them, there's just this narrative of your journey with this child that's just been very gradually and very softly put together. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you think about our days, it's the best days have a little of both mixed together too.
It's beautiful. So, Katie, as we talk about our days, I think for so many parents out there, we kind of fall through our life, so everything's rushed. It's like breakfast and then kids and then dinner, and we just tumble through the day. Um, do you ever get the feeling from parents that journaling with a child just becomes another part of this like never ending to-do list?
I think it can feel that way. I think anything can feel that way. But I also think that when we take time to do the things that we feel are most important, something beautiful comes out of it. And for me, a big thing was, well, let's say, like, so my kids will often watch screens while I'm making dinner. And so I started thinking, well, what other things could I start incorporating into that time for them? Because I can't be fully present for them. But what other things can I give them so that they're not turning to screens? And when you start thinking of just the moments like this where you can make subtle shifts. So yes, most days my kids are watching a screen while I'm making dinner, but there's also the days where they have an art project. They are doing journaling if they're old enough to be able to do that. They're doing Play-Doh. They're like, I'm making sure I'm giving them something, because I know that while it's more difficult for me to be monitoring those things, be encouraging those things than just saying, here's the screen, the reward that they have and that I absorb because of that, I've been blown away by how much it's shifting just that part of our day so
Oh,
much.
that's so beautiful. And then on those days where parents go like, "Oh my goodness, I haven't picked up this journal in like a month." What do you say to those parents?
That's okay. That's okay, because that's life, right? I think that I always think of the word diary as if something that you have to show up for and do every day. But like I intentionally make sure none of my books ever say diary. They say journal, because to me, A journal is something you can pick up whenever you want. You can do as much as you want, as little as you want. I think of this girl, and it just breaks my heart every time I think about her. She was like probably 13 or 14, and she wrote to me. And she had been keeping a journal with her mom. It was it's called Love Mom and Me. It's for girls ages 8 to 12. And her mom had cancer. Her mom passed away before they were able to finish their journal. And I think that she wrote to me because she was so devastated, obviously. But what was really hanging her up in that moment when she chose to write to me is how she was like, we have this journal together and my mom will never finish these pages. And she felt so much pain for that. What I challenged her to think instead was, what about those pages that she did write?
Mm.
Those pages you'll always have. Those stories, those moments, those just words and pictures that she put there, you'll always have those. So don't think about what you haven't done. Instead, celebrate that part that captures what you have done and what is there.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's part of her mom that she will have with her forever. So touching.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Katie, I think that sometimes we think that journals like these are more for our children to process their feelings. But I have a sense that parents are actually doing lots of their own processing of feelings through these journals. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. And one of those things is us learning to just step back and let our kids do, like you mentioned when we were talking before we started recording, just letting your daughter do it her way. And also not editing, like
Mhm.
reading and not saying, oh, you spelled this word wrong. This doesn't make sense. Like we're doing that with so many of the things that they're doing. And here, I think it's a real challenge, but it's really important to just focus on the stories and the things that our kids are trying to communicate instead of how they're doing communicating those. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, totally, totally. And I love it because we start to see, so we start as parents to kind of let go of some of that control. So I was saying to Katie that I was like, as a if it's my own journal, I'm like, oh, we're writing it with this pen and we do it this way. But my little one she's got crayon in there, she's got pencil, she's got pen, basically whatever writing utensil she can find at the time, she's used in there. And it's really just going, okay, like how do I just let her have her space and I have my space and together we create something beautiful instead of being the mom that's saying like, oh no, remember there's a sharpened pencil right on the craft table, go get it. Really just backing off from those areas of control that we often kind of let seep in without even realizing it with our children.
Oh, we absolutely do that with so many things, right?
Totally. Katie, the other thing that you sometimes say is our children will never outgrow our words. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, when we are kids, our parents are constantly guiding us, telling us how to do things or why things are important. And that that message carries with us because when I just always think, um, so my son, he's 11 years old right now, and he when he was trying to figure out something, I would just be like, okay, take a deep breath, count to 3. And then the other day, he was trying to do something. It was completely overwhelming him. And he didn't know I was listening in. And he's just like, okay, take a deep breath and count to 3. And those, like, it was like quoting me perfectly, right? And here he is
Oh,
saying it. And I don't think I'd said that phrase to him in, I don't know, in a long time.
yeah.
So those little pieces, we just never know which ones they're grabbing and bringing with them. And
Oh,
it's a lot of the feelings of I am loved, I am worthy, and I can do great things because I'm a good person.
oh, I love it. And those moments become that internal language that in turn will guide them through different road bumps in their world, which really is the definition of resiliency. It's like, okay, when I hit those hard things, what am I going to do now? And it's mom's voice that's there inside saying, okay, take that deep breath. You can do this.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, I love it. It's absolutely stunning. What do you think happens for our kiddos when they reread some of those words that have been written later on?
Well, what's really great right now at our house is that my 8-year-old has been working really hard on penmanship, and he's been a reluctant writer, a little reluctant reader, and he's looking at his own words and he's like, I can't believe my handwriting looked like that. So that's been really empowering for him, like seeing, when you practice something every day, you don't see the difference, but there he is looking at his handwriting from a year or two ago, and he's like, wow, that's impressive. But on the bigger picture, are you thinking of like the kids' words that they've written, or what the adult has written?
Let's see both. Tell me about both.
Okay,
Yeah.
gosh, let's see. When I think of a kid looking back on the words that their mom wrote, um, so many times I hear from our mother's generation saying, gosh, I wish these kinds of books or these kinds of ideas existed when I was a kid or when you were a kid, because then we could have these stories together and we could have these memories and perspectives, because we can't remember those kinds of details. Like I was telling you with my grandma, like when they're not written down or not recorded in some way, they just slowly slip away.
Mhm.
We forget the everyday things that actually were just a huge part of our lives. Like if you think of what, like, we first started recording, you were talking about today's weather and what that means. So let's think, well, what does your family have for breakfast today?
Mhm.
Was that what they were having for breakfast in June? When there was all of the fresh strawberries and the peaches and like it's those little details that are so much like this is what we're having right now have changed from even just a few months ago. This is what we're having. And so I think that that's kind of a roundabout
Oh,
swerving answer
beautiful.
to what you're asking me, but we don't realize how much the details change over time because sometimes they feel so much the same Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I love that. And as I think back on my own childhood now, there are obviously the very good moments and then the not so great moments that stick out. So those events, like if I went to go see a therapist and the things that I might talk to a therapist about, those big things now. Um, but part of me really longs just for those moments in my childhood that maybe I haven't clasped onto in terms of memory wise, because it was the everyday things like what we would have eaten for breakfast in the summer versus the winter. I think it's such a beautiful thing to be able to go like, oh, yes, I have this keepsake that really shows me what it was like to live in my house. I have a feeling, but those tiny little memories are so important. And I think journaling captures that with our kids.
It does. And it can be so easy and quick to do it. It doesn't have to be this long, drawn out process.
Yeah. Okay, I got a couple of questions on that. What if you have multiple kids? If you have a boy, a girl, and another girl at home, how are we writing in everybody's journal?
Okay, well, I've got 4 kids, and I can tell you it is a seasonal thing.
Uh-huh.
So right now, like my youngest is 3, so the two of us are not journaling together. But the older ones, kind of like we were talking about, like you're tucking it under the pillow. So it's not happening every night with every kid. So I don't have like this stack, like it's not like homework I have to get through. It's like who is interested in doing this right now? And I'm just going to kind of encourage that. Or who, such as my 8-year-old, needs a little bit more of a push right now to do some writing?
Hmm.
Or which of my kids right now do I see like our relationship isn't as tight as I want it to be? Or like what is it that I think there's something happening for them in their life, like transition as they're getting older. And I want to lean into paying more attention to them, so it's not like here's everybody's journals go. It's
Hmm.
what feels like this is what this kid needs right now.
It's beautiful. It's interesting too. I'm trained as a play therapist, and exactly what you're talking about today is that we really try and find different ways to access different children's feelings and connections.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's play, sometimes it's art, sometimes it's music, and sometimes it actually is writing. So narrative therapy, particularly with the kids as they get a little bit older. And there is something beautiful that happens when children get into a little bit of a flow. So, when there's not that stress or that pressure. And that's often as therapists that we start to go like, oh, this is what's actually happening in this child's world. It's not in the direct conversation. It's always kind of side by side, or the child is involved in their own flow process. And then we look at what they've created together. But that's exactly what you're talking about here.
Oh yeah, there's so much overlap in both of those types of work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Katie, at the beginning, when I did your bio, I spoke about you being in classrooms. Can you talk a little bit about story catching within an educational setting?
Sure. Well, a big thing that I like to do is every week I send out a free printable on my newsletter. So it can be sometimes like I'm grabbing something from my journals, from my books, or often it's just something fun that I've made, something I'm testing with my kids too. And I try to make these things be stuff that work for classrooms as well as for at home. So it can be things like let's say a little nature scavenger hunt where you are drawing something that's scratchy outside, drawing something that is blue, finding all these little things. And so I liked to bring these sorts of elements into the classroom in the form of printables. And the reason I like to do that is because I think that um, sometimes teachers can be that connector for families. And a lot of my things will be things that kids can then bring home to their families. And I'm making sure it's not like, this is something I bring to my mom because some kids don't have a mom at home. It's like every family dynamic is going to be different. But here's a tool that this teacher can hang on to and give to her class so those kids can take it home and do it with their family, or like this nature scavenger hunt, maybe they're doing it with their class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's been such a fun way to connect with teachers who are just trying to do so many incredible things. And if I can make it just just a little bit easier by having them go and get these printables, I'm gonna do my best to do that.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, Katie, it really sounds to me like you've just really dedicated um, your passion to helping to bridge connection between individuals through the power of story. That's everything that I'm hearing today.
Thank you. That
Mhm.
I really appreciate hearing that because I think that's what's in my heart.
Yeah. Sometimes when we do workshops and presentations, I will talk to parents about the fact that with our children, we're writing a story together and we have so much power over our story. We get to decide what that story actually looks like. And there may be unexpected events or characters within those stories, but we still have so much control to see what happens with those events and with those characters that come into our story. So these journals, in turn, become the story that we are co creating with our kids.
I like the way you're thinking of that. I just think like we have the ability to choose to some extent where we live, what school our kids go to, who the kids that they're with, what clubs they're in. Yeah, all those little details influence the person they're becoming. And we obviously can't change the minutia of it, but we can make the bigger picture the best that we can make for them.
Oh, that's beautiful. Katie, before we finish off, I've got a couple of questions for you. First of all, where can people find your journals?
The best places would be at katieclemons.com. That's KATIEC, and then the letter, like the word lemons. So my last name is CLEMONS.com.
Beautiful. And the ages that these journals are appropriate for?
I've got journals for, like, if you're wanting to do a parent-child journal, got them for ages like 4 to 7 and 8 to 12 and teenagers. So you can find whatever feels right for you and your child.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we were actually doing a workshop last night on childhood anxiety, and I was saying to the parents that for children who are more anxious in predisposition, that guided journaling is actually one of the best formats for them, because often we'll say, oh, kids should journal, but when they journal and it's free form, we'll often see that anxious thoughts snowball and they become even more anxious. So one of the best therapy tools for in between therapy is actually to give them a guided journal where they can just start to work through some of those thoughts. And if they're doing it in connection with somebody, that's powerful too.
Yes,
Yeah,
there is nothing more overwhelming than a blank page.
totally. I agree. And pressure, right? Especially if there's a date at the top that you have to fill it in. And that's what I love with yours too, is that there are no dates. You just pop in when you want to put that date in.
That's right.
This one is, Mom, here's a bouquet of flowers for you because, and then you put that in. That's so beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, stunning. Beautiful, Katie. Thank you so much. Any final words for everybody listening in that you want to share?
Well, would you be interested in doing a journaling exercise with me? We could give it a shot if you'd like.
Let's do it. So, do you want people to put their answers into the chat, or what would you like them to do?
Well, I've got a I don't think it'll fit into a chat. So we will, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, we'll
Okay,
jot it down. You can always do it later on your own too.
beautiful. So, let's give them 2 minutes to grab a pen and a piece of paper. And I want to do it too. So, I want to grab my pen. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Oh, and get 2 different colors if you have a chance.
Okay. Okay. Give everyone 1 more minute, and then we'll come back. Got 2 different colors and my piece of paper. I'm excited.
Okay. So I want you to do then is make your paper be horizontal. So it's the long way.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be I'm writing to my daughter specifically. So I have this book called Letters to My Daughter, and it goes with a membership that I have. You can use just the blank book on your own, or you can do this membership with me. And it's just got that dreaded blank page, but I walk people through what to write on them. So it's not so intimidating. But so this book, I'm just collecting letters all to my daughter, and I'd like you to think of one of your kids that you would like to write to right now. We're going to write a little bit about our child and a little bit about ourselves.
Mhm.
And so the first thing you have to do is pretend this is my sheet of paper. So I got it split down the middle, and I need you to write the date somewhere on the top and write dear child's name.
Okay, so it's October 16th, anyone who's wondering. Okay. Okay.
And then I want you to write, right now you are, colon. So what we're going to be doing is capturing sort of like a screenshot of things that have to do with our kid. We were kind of talking about earlier with, like, for example, your breakfast and how it's different now than it was before. All these little details are something that changed so much. Like when I look at the pregnancy journal that I kept for my first son, my 11-year-old, and I see how I wrote the same kind of journal entry there, everything's so different. Like we're still the same people, but things have changed over time. So we are just going to, like I said, capture this screenshot kind of showing this is a little bit of who you are right now. So we're going to write down 5 different verbs. I've got learning, and then give yourself some space. Loving, and then give yourself a little bit more space. Eating, then going, and then your last verb is saying. So what I want you to do, and we can do a little bit of this now, and then you can do a little bit on your own too, is describe something that your child is learning right now. So it can be something they're learning through school or something they're figuring out themselves, a sport, something that just whatever it is that is striking you when you think of your child as something they're learning right now. Just write a sentence or two. Don't have to get any deeper than that. Just, like I said, screenshot. Here's something you're learning. Now, if you take that same sentence that we started at the beginning, right now you are, and we're going to go with loving. Right now you are loving. Okay, our next one, eating. Right now you are eating. All right, our next one. Right now you are going. So this could be activities that they're going to. This could be a way that they are going, such as like you're going constantly on your bicycle. And just when you hear you are going, what's the rest of that sentence? And our last one, right now you are saying. All right, on the other side, we're going to do the exact same thing, but now it's going to be about ourselves. So right now, I am. You take those same verbs and write them all down and then fill them in.
Okay. Katie, do you want me to read mine to you?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay. And then I actually, after that, I actually, because my kids are home, we have a teacher strike going on, and they want to talk to everybody about their thoughts on the journal, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I want to give it one nugget about why I love doing this type of entry first before we pull them in, but that
Yes.
sounds really cool.
Okay, so so I have two daughters, so I chose Una to write this to, and it says, "Dear Una, right now you are learning frustration tolerance, you're loving ninja and being active, you're eating pierogies and hamburgers, and you're saying, I can't wait to ski." And then mine was, "Right now I'm learning to take a pause. I'm loving the hot tub. I'm eating or trying to eat food that actually makes me feel good. And I'm saying I can't wait to see Nana and Papa in South Africa."
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful. What a moment that you kind of a snapshot in time.
That's right. Often we are just so bombarded with these ideas that the meaningful things that our kids are going to remember that make the most treasured memories are the big things. The once in a lifetime vacations, the expensive trips, everything that just huge. And we forget because of that it's actually the little things that matter so much. It's what we're eating together. It's what we're making sure we're picking up at the grocery store. It's those little things that all add up. Because when you think back on your childhood, yes, you'll think of those really big, incredible trips that you got to do. But more likely, in the everyday moments, the things you're going to remember are these little things. It's remembering when your mom bought an extra bag of apples because she knew you ate apples every day. It's like the tiny things. And so now you're like, well, I want to make sure I get apples for my kids because what if they like apples? Like all those little things, that's what we carry with us more than anything else. I really believe that.
Oh, Kay is beautiful. And I love, 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 love that through the ages we can capture that all the way into the teens.
We definitely can if we just believe we can.
I love it. Beautiful. Do you want to hear their experience of the journal?
That sounds amazing.
And then we'll wrap up after that. Okay. Una, come. So there's two. So Una did the older journal. The one, is it the one for 7? What's the second one?
Love Mom and Me.
Yes, that one. The second
Okay.
one. Yes.
Hi, Una. It's nice to meet you.
This is Katie. So Katie is the one who designed all of these journals. Katie, would love to know like what you thought of the journals.
I think it was cool because
Can you come?
as it taught taught like women how women get treated badly against like what men.
Oh yeah. So she says what she loves about it is empowering. And she's found it empowering as a girl to be able to write this journal with me.
Oh, Una, that's beautiful. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the prompt where I'm asking you to talk about, do you think women are treated equally to men? And I think that's a really important conversation to have at home. So I'm so glad you're doing that.
Okay, Maya, do you want to come tell us? So Maya did this one with me. Okay.
Hi, Maya.
Can you tell Katie what you love about the journal?
That it's not just you do it. I like how there's some like you and me parts.
Oh, your mom showed me how you drew your family portrait, and it was adorable. It was so good.
Beautiful. Thanks, girls.
Thank you. Thank you. That feels like such a huge gift. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, and so beautiful to see just the different ages what they've taken from it, right? So Una's older, so it's like that's a much different level, and what Maya is taking from it. It's so interesting.
Oh, it was so beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Okay, Katie, anything to finish up with?
I think I would just want to encourage everybody to know that your story matters. And I know that sometimes it's so easy to think, no, it doesn't. Like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I promise it does matter. It matters so much. And that's because you matter so much. I think that you're doing a better job as a parent than you'll ever realize. And I just want to give you a big applause for that and say bravo.
Oh, Katie, so beautiful. This has really just touched my heart. Thank you so much for the time you spent with us today.
Likewise, thank you so much.
And thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you all in a couple of weeks again. Come join us for our next community webinar. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Katie.